The year was 1683, and the mighty Ottoman Empire, under the ambitious Grand Vizier Kara Mustafa Pasha, stood at the gates of Vienna. The great city, the heart of Christian Europe, trembled as the vast Ottoman army, over 100,000 strong, surrounded its walls. Sultan Mehmed IV had ordered this campaign to expand Ottoman dominion deeper into Europe, and Vienna, the capital of the Holy Roman Empire, was the prize. Inside the besieged city, Emperor Leopold I had already fled, leaving the defense to Count Ernst Rudiger von Starhemberg. The Viennese, starving and desperate, held on, knowing that if the Ottomans breached the walls, their fate would be grim. For 2 months, the Ottomans bombarded the city, tunneling beneath the fortifications, setting off mines, and launching relentless assaults. The defenders, though outnumbered, fought with the fury of men who knew they had no retreat. But hope was on the horizon. The relief of Vienna, the Winged Hussars arrived. Pope Innocent XI had long feared the Ottoman advance and had worked tirelessly to unite Europe's fractious kingdoms against the common threat. He formed the Holy League, an alliance of the Holy Roman Empire, Poland, Lithuania, Venice, and other Christian states. The most crucial player was Jan III Sobieski, the warrior king of Poland. On September 12, 1683, the combined Christian forces, nearly 70,000 strong, arrived at the hills outside Vienna. The Ottomans, confident in their numbers, did not expect such a swift and coordinated attack. Sobieski, leading the largest cavalry charge in history, unleashed his legendary Winged Hussars, elite knights whose armor gleamed in the sun, their wings creating an eerie whistling sound as they descended upon the enemy. The charge was devastating. The Ottoman lines crumbled under the weight of steel and fury. Kara Mustafa, realizing his mistake too late, ordered a retreat, but the damage was done. The Ottomans fled in disarray, leaving behind their treasures, cannons, and thousands of dead. Vienna was saved, and the tide of the war turned against the Ottomans. The Holy League strikes back. Emboldened by their victory, the Holy League went on the offensive. In 1684, the Venetians, under Francesco Morosini, launched a campaign in Greece, capturing the Peloponnese and Athens, though tragically, the Parthenon was severely damaged when an Ottoman ammunition dump inside it exploded. Meanwhile, in Hungary, the Habsburgs, led by Charles of Lorraine and later by Prince Eugene of Savoy, began reclaiming Ottoman-held territories. The Battle of Mohacs in 1687 was a decisive Habsburg victory, avenging the infamous Ottoman triumph there in 1526. The Ottomans, plagued by internal strife and rebellions, struggled to hold their ground. The rise of Prince Eugene and the Battle of Zenta. One of the war's most brilliant commanders was Prince Eugene of Savoy, a young French-born nobleman who had been rejected by King Louis XIV and instead offered his sword to the Habsburgs. In 1697, at the Battle of Zenta, Eugene ambushed Sultan Mustafa II's army as it was crossing the Tisza River. The Ottomans, caught in a vulnerable position, were slaughtered. Over 20,000 Ottoman soldiers perished, while the Habsburgs suffered minimal losses. The victory was so crushing that the Sultan was forced to sue for peace. The Treaty of Karlowitz, the end of an era. By 1699, the Ottomans, exhausted and defeated, agreed to negotiations. The Treaty of Karlowitz marked the end of the war, and the beginning of the Ottoman Empire's long decline. Hungary, Transylvania, and much of the Balkans were ceded to the Habsburgs. The Venetians retained the Peloponnese, and Poland regained Podolia. For the first time in centuries, the Ottomans had been forced to surrender vast territories in a permanent peace. Legacy of the war. The Great Turkish War reshaped Europe. The Habsburgs emerged as a dominant power, while the Ottomans never again posed the same existential threat to Christendom. The war also marked the rise of new military leaders like Prince Eugene, whose tactics would influence European warfare for decades. But perhaps the most enduring legacy was the shift in perception. No longer was the Ottoman Empire seen as an unstoppable force. The relief of Vienna became a legendary moment, celebrated as the day Europe stood united against invasion. The Winged Hussars' charge passed into legend, a symbol of courage and defiance. And so, the war that began with the Siege of Vienna ended not just in victory, but in the dawn of a new era, one where the balance of power in Europe had changed forever.